before we get to that, I'm not going to say it was the most controversial, but it was definitely the most memorable moment of the presidential debate the other night. Former President Trump going off on a bizarre tangent about immigrants eating dogs, eating cats, and pets. Is it happening? Well, the story has been disputed. David Muir fact-checking him wasn't really convincing. So let's talk about exactly what is happening in that town of Springfield, Ohio. We bring in News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh, who's been there for a couple of days now. You can follow him on X at Rich McHugh. Rich, always appreciate a few minutes of your time.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you're there on the ground. You've been investigating not just the pet-eating claims, which were first spread on large scale by J.D. Vance. Are there dogs, cats, geese being skinned in parks by Haitian immigrants and being eaten?
Well, here's what I'll say. People are really divided on this whole thing, and they're saying this whole animal thing is not the real issue. But here's where the current debate lies. You know, residents that I've talked to say, like, yes, they believe there's some truth to that. Some residents. Now, the city and the police say it's all unsubstantiated. So that's what I go with, unsubstantiated. And but the bigger issue is the infrastructure. You know, the animal thing is just this hot button thing that got everybody's attention.
Right.
The infrastructure is the problem in the city. There's 20,000 new Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, and the city is just not equipped for it. It's stressing the health care. It's stressing the schools. It's, cars. The number of automobile accidents has skyrocketed in several years. Crime, according to the FBI data, 2019 to 2022 is up. That said, people say, look, this city was dying. They needed unskilled workers, and these Haitian immigrants are here on a temporary protected status. They've fled Haiti, so they're here legally. So it's a complicated one for sure, and people are really divided and heated about it in Springfield.
Rich, and you take 20,000 people and dump them in a small community anywhere, it's going to create logistical problems, infrastructure problems, and all of that. How did they end up there? Why are these, you mentioned they're here legally, but 20,000 Haitians in central Ohio, not necessarily the place I would think that you would just dump them?
That's precisely the question I'm trying to get to the bottom of. And I don't have an answer yet. I assume that there are organizations working with the government to help bring them to Springfield, because it's not just by chance that they're in Springfield. And I think there are other towns around Springfield, other cities that this is the situation.
Right.
But it's not clear to me yet what the answer is to that. I know that they fled Haiti which is a war-torn and terrible in a terrible state.
Sure.
And I think they have temporary status here, protected status, till I think 2025.
And look, there's no greater Haitian American community than here in South Florida. I think in the state there's something like 300,000 of them, and then most of them are here in South Florida. I've been watching your reports since yesterday, and obviously many in the community are talking about the problems that having 20,000 new residents in a city creates, and it's been a problem for those that have been there for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to one gentleman last night. He said, I can't get in, health services for my children for 2 months. He's like, he grew up in Springfield and said, it's not sustainable. This is, the sentiment is that this is reshaping the identity of this city,
right.
Reshaping every part of this city indefinitely, going forward.
Sure. Couple more minutes here with News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh. He's been live in Springfield, Ohio for the last couple of days. I seemed to sense in some of your reporting that there was a defense of these Haitian migrants. They're just here looking for a better life, and they're doing the jobs that some of us going. But there also seems to be a racial element to people not wanting them there or not liking having them there.
I think both of those are true. That's the sense that I get from reporting in Springfield, is that, look, they are here legally and they are seeking a better life and safety from war-torn Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
The residents in Springfield are like, okay, we're all about immigration, but why does it have to be our city, and why is it completely changing everything about our city?
Right.
How is that fair?
Yeah.
You know, these are the arguments you're hearing, and it's a complicated situation that I'm not sure anybody has answers for yet. I know the current mayor does not. He's said plainly, like, this is an issue we're grappling with, and so it may have filled a need several years back where they needed unskilled workers, but now here they are, and it's driving up rents for residents in Springfield, Ohio, and all sorts of situations.
All right, to circle back in closing to the whole eating of the pets thing, I would think that if somebody took my pet, or if I saw somebody skinning and eating a dog, there's the one video of the woman who was not Haitian, happens to be an American citizen, and I think it was in Canton, Ohio, not Springfield, of her clearly in some sort of mental situation eating a cat. If somebody took my pet, or if I saw somebody eating a cat or a dog, I'd file a police report, and the police don't have any of that. I guess.
Well, there is a 911 call. Somebody did
about the geese.
Yes, correct. But I have not spoken with anybody, and I have not heard or even seen a firsthand account of anybody. People are saying, "Oh, it's all on Twitter. It's all on the internet. People are talking about it."
Must be true.
Well, just because people talk about it doesn't mean it's true. And if it's true, then it'll get out there. And if it's not, this whole thing will die off.
Yeah. He's News Nation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh. Rich, always appreciate the time, brother. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and this is one of the stories I started talking about at the beginning, when everybody in the mainstream media is kind of blowing something off, saying it's not true, it's been debunked or something like that. I think, and even somebody like me, we've clearly learned over the last few years, whether it is Russia collusion, whether it is Hunter Biden's laptop, whether it is a lot of things associated with the pandemic and COVID, when the entire, what you would call the mainstream media, is on one side of the thing, saying there's nothing to see here, maybe we just need to take a look a little. I'm not saying people are eating pets over there, but there was the one 911 call about a guy seeing 4 Haitians carrying ducks. Did that happen? I don't know. A 911 call isn't evidence that something happened. But let's keep an open mind about it. And let's not make everything about race, shall we? Come back and tell you about a story, headline I saw this morning.